part of that, I oversee facilities as well as transportation, everybody's favorite parking, and some other things as well, public safety, health and environmental health and safety. We've got the team today to talk about our Corvallis Campus Vision with you. This is our work that's been ongoing for the past couple of years to put together our vision. It is a vision for the campus. Different from a master plan. This is perhaps a higher level document that helps set a course for us.
Partying.
You're on call.
Just listening.
As we look for our I'm sorry, this open mic threw me off there, but it's our vision that gives us guidance as we look at the campus and how we want to develop for the future or shape for the future as well. Of course, we went through that heavy time of growth on the campus, and now we're at a point where facilities-wise, we feel like we're at a good size, and the growth takes a different piece here, where we're shaping the campus rather than growing the campus. And so we want to share that with you. Of course, our vision for the campus is tied to the city of Corvallis, to the chamber, to the businesses here as well, and has to reflect all of our thoughts in that process as well. Through that, in the early stages, there was a lot of outreach in the community to gather ideas and to get input on that plan, which is at the heart of this. Now the team has analyzed that. We've been through that. We have the analysis back. It's still in the draft form until we do this last round or potentially last round of communication with you all in the community. And we're looking at this point is, did we get the vision right? What did we miss? What do we need to address as well? And I'm going to stop there because I've got a great team of folks with me, and I'll let them introduce themselves as they get going here. But I'll turn it over to Erin to kick us off.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks so much. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Do you all see the PowerPoint presentation? Great, fabulous. Thanks, Paul, and thanks again, Chamber of Commerce, for having us. We're very excited to present the campus vision. I'm joined today by my team members, Lori Fulton. Oops, there we go. The project team members, Lori Fulton, Rebecca Houdeling, Bob Richardson, and Abby Leland. We welcome questions on the vision and what we're going to present today. We ask that you save them for the end, just so we can get through all the information we're going to cover. If you think of a question and you don't want to lose it, feel free and paste it in the chat box through Zoom, and we'll get to it at the end. For the Corvallis Campus Vision, which you'll hear us talk, we'll call it the CCV at times. We worked with the project team of Perkins and Will and Walker Macy to come up with a cohesive vision for the Corvallis campus. And now I'll pass it off to Bob Richardson, who will talk a little bit about staging the Corvallis Campus Vision.
Great. Thank you, Erin. And again, thanks everybody for giving us a chance to speak with you and today about the campus vision. We're really excited to get this to this point in the process where we're able to kind of go back out to the community and share the work that we've done. And as Paul mentioned, to hear from you if there's any gaps that we've missed or any things that any blind spots that we need to address as we move towards finalization of the vision. So with that in mind, our goals today are threefold. We'd like to introduce you to the campus vision, share its recommendations or some of its recommendations, and hear your thoughts and questions. And as I begin into the heart of the presentation, I think it's important to understand that the campus vision is intended to support the university's mission. And in 2018, the university adopted Strategic Plan 4.0. You can see on the screen here with the mission statement of SP 4.0. Which is that, it's a university committed to teaching, research, outreach, and engagement, and promoting economic, social, cultural, and environmental progress for the people of Oregon, the nation, and the world. So we have a really impressive, lofty, forward-looking mission statement. And what we're trying to do with the campus vision is to support that mission through physical aspects of campus. In recent years, the university has achieved a number of successes consistent with that mission. And I'm only going to just to highlight some of these today. that you can see that we're ranked the #2 forestry program in the world, the #3 program in the world for oceanography. We're top 5 in terms of robotics engineering and best online programs. We're ranked the #2 friendliest college town in America, and we have a gold rating for bike friendliness. And so I think you can see from that we have a lot of different programs that have been really successful. And we are always, as many of you know, working to continue and have that support from the broader community that gives us those rankings as the friendliest college town, because that, of course, comes in large part from the whole Corvallis community. So a primary goal of the campus vision is to support these kinds of successes by creating places that foster academic excellence and that are also welcoming, inclusive, and inspiring places to work, study, play, and visit. And that notion is captured here in the Corvallis Campus Vision Statement. This vision statement is based on shared values that were identified by community members, which have been translated into guiding principles that will in turn influence the evolution of campus's physical form over the next 10 years. And these values and guiding principles that we'll briefly touch on later on, we believe create a vision for a campus that is safe, welcoming, and inclusive, environmentally and financially sustainable, and supportive, ultimately, of the university's education and research mission. Getting down a little bit more into the details, the campus vision has 4 overarching purposes. One is that it establishes a unified direction for the physical development of campus that connects Strategic Plan 4.0 to the ongoing design and planning of campus. It outlines opportunities to guide the physical realization of Strategic Plan 4.0, including things like locating specific sites for new buildings when there are opportunities to construct them or there's a need for them. It identifies redevelopment opportunities and other strategies for implementing the aspects of the vision. It provides a framework for future university policies, plans, and studies related to physical development, and it ensures that future development meets individual and community needs in ways that promote safety, comfort, access, and collaboration. So to say all of that a little bit differently, the CCV provides more certainty regarding the locations of future development. It offers a cohesive view of future campus development that can be applied both to campus-wide perspectives and to specific projects and locations on campus. And it provides a framework to align various long-range plans. The next slide we have will show you some of the many long-range plans and studies that we have in place that we use on a regular basis. I won't go through all of them, but together, all of these various long-range plans will come under the framework of the Corvallis Campus Vision to provide campus planning direction. But what's really kind of useful and important is that each of these sub-plans, the Historic Preservation Plan, Campus Master Plan, Infrastructure Plans, Athletics Master Plan, they'll continue to operate on their own, so they'll be nimble and flexible and able to respond to changing needs and conditions while still being within the framework of the Corvallis Campus Vision, which then will feed up to support the Strategic Plan 4.0. So how did we get here? This question has 2 answers. First, the Corvallis Campus Vision follows a long history of planning for physical development of the Corvallis campus, beginning in 1909 with the Olmsted Plan, and leading us up through to the 2004 Campus Master Plan. Moving forward from the Campus Master Plan, the Corvallis Campus Vision expands and refreshes our view into the next 10 years, and as we'll describe a little bit later, provides new guidance on how to strengthen and preserve important campus characteristics. The second answer to the question of how we got here to creating a campus vision follows from our engagement with community members like yourself in the early stages of creating this vision. through meetings with on-campus groups like the steering committee for this project and various focus groups, along with surveys and pop-up stations out in the community, like at the farmers market and community forums that we held at the public library, we asked individuals what they loved about our campus, what they would change, and what an inclusive campus would look like to them. And those responses helped form the vision. What we heard from that initial outreach can generally be placed into six categories, I'm sorry. We heard that people love historic buildings and landscape settings in the campus core, that transportation can be stressful regardless of how people come and go to campus. We heard from some that some buildings are especially welcome while others serve their functions less well, that people want more opportunities to connect with each other to discuss issues affecting their lives and community, that some areas of campus can feel less safe or separated and less important than other parts of campus, and that there is a desire for more events about sustainability, race, culture, or events to celebrate specific groups or the community as a whole. And maybe it's important to note that these ideas of increasing connections and celebrating the community and the various parts of our community came about before we were in the COVID pandemic, where we're all more separated. So it was a real important thing about this real connection to the social aspect of physical development. And so at the highest level, we took those things that we heard, and the vision took those things that we heard and responded to those topics by establishing a set of guiding principles so that the physical development and form of campus reflect our ideals in 5 broad areas, and they're shown here for you. They are environmental ethics, social responsibility, respect for resources, campus integrity, and community connection. So with that, I'll leave my presentation there, and I'll turn it to Rebecca, who will get into even more detail.
Thank you, Bob. OSU's campus can be thought of as having 3 distinct yet interrelated organizing systems: development, open space, and circulation. The organizing system development refers to the Corvallis campus buildings and facilities, while open space includes the variety of campus spaces that provide places for people to gather, recreate, and engage in education and research. And circulation consists of our campus streets, sidewalks, and walkways, and bike facilities. The vision recognizes the strengths of the campus's existing organizing systems and recommends strategies that build upon them. The CCV includes implementation strategies, which are ways to apply the vision to the physical environment. Some of the implementation strategies apply campus-wide, while others pertain to specific areas of campus or even particular sites. I'll provide a couple examples of each. The pattern and relationship among our campus buildings are a fundamental component of the physical framework and a very recognizable aspect of our campus character. The vision for campus is to continue using similar materials and constructing similar size buildings as we move forward, while finding ways to incorporate functionality to support on-site as well as distant learning innovation. One of the strategies that can be applied campus-wide is the evaluation of buildings to determine how or if they can be renovated in a cost-effective manner, either to continue the current use or to provide a new use rather than build a new building. This strategy supports the sustainability and fiducial responsibility guiding principles. OSU has beautiful and generous network of existing open spaces. The vision calls for additional open spaces or the continuation of open spaces that preserve, enhance, and expand these vital places, support campus life, and celebrate the land-based research of our university. Some of our open spaces would benefit from some strategies to improve their sense of being welcoming as well as inclusive. Some strategies include providing areas for spending time individually and communally, establishing shade and weather protection, similar to what you see here on right-hand side with the SEC Plaza, provide nearby food options or temporary displays and movable tables and chairs to provide more adaptability, support places to gather and celebrate, and make sure all of these spaces are well lit and well maintained. The vision for campus also includes clarifying our campus edges to enhance the campus identity and to create an inviting interface with Corvallis. The CCV encourages improvements to the campus edges as a means of supporting human comfort, recreation, and safety, welcoming people to campus and cueing people that in fact they have arrived on campus. One of the things that we heard during the outreach portion of the project was the importance of having OSU's land-based research proximate to campus. This is becoming exceedingly rare amongst our peer institutions. However, this land provides an important academic and research function. OSU is a land grant institution and is committed to teaching, research, outreach, and engagement. As such, the vision foresees the land west of campus to continue to be used for research into the foreseeable future. Recognizing this, the vision highlights the importance of identifying and celebrating our research. One method of highlighting research is through the use of agricultural fencing and signage. This clearly denotes that the property is part of the campus and allows us to tell a story of OSU's important research activities. This technique is also applicable to the paddocks that support vet med as well as other areas of campus. Wayfinding can also serve as a technique to enhance the campus identity and a sense of place within the wider Corvallis and Benton County. The vision for campus includes improving wayfinding as a means for making campus more accessible and inviting. The CCV calls for circulation that prioritizes the accessibility and safety of non-vehicular travel. The vision focuses on a compact campus, enhanced pedestrian opportunities and bicycle routes, and the development of mobility hubs, which are places of connectivity where different travel options like walking, biking, transit, and shared mobility come together. The nearly complete sustainable transportation strategy plan is one example of how the vision will be implemented. The primary goal of the STS is to reduce our carbon footprint by reducing commuter trips to campus and improving sustainable transportation options. One other positive outcome of reducing vehicle trips would be a reduction in the amount of land needed for parking. At this time, I'll turn the presentation over to Lori, who will explain some of the ways the vision will be applied to specific areas of campus.
Thanks, Rebecca. So in addition to campus-wide strategies, which Rebecca just went through several of, the vision includes recommendations for specific areas of campus, and we've divided the campus into 4 areas for the purpose of this discussion. In each area, key initial opportunity sites for physical adaptation, redevelopment, enhancement, and activation have been identified. And the configuration of each opportunity site as we move forward should reinforce the open space circulation system supporting a cohesive campus experience. So going up to the central area first, which many consider to be the heart of campus. Some of the characteristics include our iconic buildings, such as the Memorial Union and Weatherford Hall, and major open spaces, such as the Library Quad and the MU Quad. In the central area, the vision aims to continue this tradition while bringing a bit more activity to the area. The area along Northwest Monroe Avenue is a recognizable area of edge of campus. However, there's room for improvement by creating more welcoming ways into campus. Also, improving accessibility is a key goal of the CCV, which we're currently tackling through the Community Hall Slope Project. The Community Hall Slope Project is a multi-year project which is currently in design and will result in a fully accessible path from current administration on the lower elevation of campus all the way up to Community Hall, which is one of the higher elevations on campus. This is the mass major link in our accessible circulation program, so we're excited to have that underway. The CCV the east area of campus is where about a third of our student housing lies. And this area also includes the historic lower campus with the tree-lined walkway between 11th and 14th Streets. The CCV promotes opportunities here to integrate academic functions with student life to enhance live-learn opportunities and to redevelop student housing with ample open spaces. The east area connects our campus with surrounding neighborhoods, and the vision for this area includes the creation of more defined but welcoming campus edge. Moving on to the south area of the campus is an area where OSU interacts with the community and visitors, often through athletics events and functions at LaSalle Stewart Center. Student life also has a strong presence in this area with Bloss, Finley, Cordley Hall, and the International Living Learning Center. The CCV includes recommended streetscape and gateway improvements along Western Boulevard in particular to enhance this campus corridor by creating a sense of place and informing visitors they've arrived at OSU. The International Living Learning Center is a great example of an integrated space where we have academic as well as living programs, and the vision recommends more of these functions be added to the south area of campus, where we're doing more academic things in all areas of campus and not just limiting up to the core of campus. And then finally, on the west side of campus, the west area serves as a place for agriculture and natural resources research, and the university also provides a connection to the community through the multi-use trail along Campus Way out through the covered bridge. The vision aims to better integrate this west area of campus through connections to the rest of campus and by adapting PV Field for continued open space while creating some areas of opportunity for development around it. Now I'm going to cover how the vision informs future development and redevelopment opportunities. So reiterating once more, the strategic plan is the basis for campus vision, and what we heard impacts the content of the vision and how it's implemented. Looking back at what we heard, the broad themes from the outreach sessions with students, staff, and members of our community, Corvallis Campus Vision responds to these themes in the following way. The beloved historic buildings and landscapes will continue to endure. Our efforts in developing and improving the campus will center around preserving our historic buildings and landscapes wherever possible. Transportation stress will be addressed by prioritizing active, sustainable modes of transportation through development and creating options that reduce the need for parking and lessen vehicle traffic on campus. And then finally, a continued effort to make campus accessible, inviting, safe, sustainable, and unified through design elements will be prioritized. So in addition to the strategies, the project team looked at campus to determine where new construction might occur. We looked at locations, density, proximity to other uses, and took into account what we heard during community outreach portion of the project. The capacity study found there are areas of campus that are underused or could be repurposed for future development within our existing campus boundaries. This diagram shows the sites with the greatest opportunity for development and redevelopment. The shapes don't indicate building footprints, but rather consider buildings as well as circulation and open space. And the good news here is there are more opportunities than current demand requires. The vision will be used in preparation of OSU's 10-year capital forecast. The capital forecast is a 10-year rolling plan with anticipated projects that support OSU's vision, mission, and strategic plan. It's also a tool used to identify where OSU's major capital investments should be implemented. It's updated annually, is dynamic, and reflects institutional priorities and responds to opportunities as they arise. It includes campus facilities, open space, and infrastructure projects. The current plan shows a number of projects that are underway. some of which are no longer viable, and some that have yet to begin. So just real quickly here, we didn't identify them with labels, but we do have some projects that are underway. For example, over in the lower left corner, we're working on a new development for our facility services shops. That's under construction right now. If you're driving along Western and 35th, you'll see it under construction. Up towards the north end of the project, we are currently renovating Cordley Hall, which will be a multi-year renovation of our most major research complex on campus. So just a couple of them to highlight what we've got going on. The long purple stripe down the middle of the drawing, I should note, is the reconstruction of Washington Way, which is been designed. I think it's in the permitting process, and we're waiting to get started on the construction of that. So shows one of our infrastructure projects. And I think that kind of wraps up my part of it. So Erin, I will turn it over to you and let you finish it up for us.
Great, thanks, Lori, and thanks everybody. We have some questions that have come in already, which is wonderful. So I'm just going to go ahead and read them, and the project team can answer. And then after we get through those questions, since it's a smaller group, people can just raise their hands or Zoom raise their hands, however it works, and ask questions. So first off, Julie Manning asks, regarding the east area, what are a couple of examples of what edges might look like that separate the campus from adjacent neighborhoods?
I think I'll start with that, and Bob and Rebecca jump in. I think where we have really nice landscaping with mature trees, that's really what I think people like about our campus. And so not just on the east side, but also on the west side as well. And I would say even in more particular is we've got some areas of campus where you could cross the street and not know you're on campus. And we just want to do a better job of letting you know that. We want to take care of it well. We want it to be well lit. We want people to be comfortable walking on the sidewalks and know where your connections into campus are located. We've got a few places on campus where you kind of come into these almost alleys that are a little dark. So we're just the idea is that we clean all that up and just really do a good job of presenting campus.
Yeah, I would just like to add to that. I think there are, especially on the east side, there's some areas where we don't have the historic lights or the signage that you often see that is recognizable that you're on campus. And so I think those are the sensitive ways of achieving that sense of place.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and leave the slides up just because sometimes people have questions about the maps and I don't want to go through the whole process again. So that's why it's still up there. But David Dodson, hi Dave, asks, what is the vision for the 50-acre South Farm property?
Yeah, I can start with that one. We specifically did not include the South Farm property in this vision, so that's why it's just not there. It wasn't part of this study. We kind of looked at it as an entirely separate place that had its own separate set of issues. And so there have been some other studies, David, as you know, over the years that have evaluated how that area might best be used. But for the moment, my understanding and everything I know is that it's just going to continue as it is until there's some other better use of that land determined. And Lori, do you have anything you would add?
I don't think so, Bob. I think you did a good job.
Thanks. Skip Rung asks, what is being done to protect lower paid employees who cannot work from home, work specified, odd, or variable hours, and cannot afford or dream to afford to live within bicycling distance?
Skip, I'll try to answer that question, which I think is an excellent question. And it's something that we've paid attention to with the work on creation of the sustainable transportation strategy, which is like we mentioned, nearly complete, and was starting to figure out how to implement it. But you're right. People who can't afford to live in Corvallis, don't want to live in Corvallis, but they want to work at the university, so they can't walk or bike. We have to also pay attention to those folks, especially those that that may be working lower paid jobs. And so there's a couple things that I'll offer that we've considered, and we're still kind of refining. But one idea and one action of the sustainable transportation strategy is to create a platform that's on like a software platform that you have on your phone that'd be very easy to use and robust and easy to use, that would help people who could carpool. So we're really trying to promote carpooling if that's possible. If a person can't carpool, doesn't want to carpool, one of the other ideas is that we would be moving towards a daily parking permit rather than encouraging people to buy parking permits for an entire year. So if we move to a daily parking permit system, that means people would only need to be parking for the days that they're actually on campus. And so if a person was homesick, they only work part-time, it'd be to their advantage to actually be able to buy daily parking permits, as opposed to the current system, which encourages annual parking permits as the cheaper way to go. So that's one way that we're trying to consider that question of equity. Also, we're really looking at ways to invest and promote alternative forms of transportation. So not necessarily just biking, but maybe if a little in town, a little farther away from campus, that there's better options for taking transit. As I mentioned, carpooling. And then ultimately, the hope is that there are few people driving to campus, which would make it easier for those folks that need to come during odd hours or need to be close to a particular building to find a space that's available for them. So we're really trying to pay attention to those ideas. And I think it's a great question, and we still need to kind of keep that in the forefront of our thinking.
Great, thanks. Mike Corwin asks, I know there have been some changes to plans for a performing arts center / complex originally planned for LaSalle's renovation. What's the latest with that?
I can take a stab at that one. The Arts and Education Complex, Erin, if you want to go back to the
Yes.
capital forecast map.
There we go.
The, as Lori indicated in her portion of the presentation, the facility services shops building is under construction at Western and 35th. And then once that is complete, facility services will be relocating to that location. And then the Arts and Education Complex is currently in design. They just finished, I believe, 100% DD and moving into construction drawings. And that will be located south of the Kerr Administration Building, where you see that kind of confluence of the pink and the orange for the demolition of the current facilities, and then the reconstruction with the orange.
Thanks. Cynthia from the Arts Center writes, has an integrated cultural corridor between the new Arts Music Building to downtown Corvallis been considered?
I don't know, but I think
I was going to
Lori
say, yeah, in the early conversations about when the site for the Arts and Education Complex was finally determined, there were some conversations about how to do that. It's a little bit out of the scope in the budget that we have for the building, but definitely there was some good discussion around that and maybe some opportunities in the future.
Adrian Fritz asks, what outreach was done during the outreach / research stage with small businesses surrounding the campus?
I think the outreach that we did was not necessarily door to door like that, but more of an opportunity to try to get as many people as we could. And that was where Bob was talking about it earlier. We had a meeting at the library, a public meeting at the library where we did some invitations out to everybody. And then farmers market. We had a couple of we had tables at a couple of farmers markets where we could try to catch people But I'm absolutely happy to talk to individual businesses along that corridor because it is an important one for us, as we mentioned in the presentation.
And I would add to that, when we were planning the outreach and advertising it, we went and talked, when we hung up flyers about the outreach opportunities, we went to the surrounding businesses and posted in most of them. So they should have been aware. And also it was run in the Gazette Times and a couple other places. So. Adrian also asks, also wondering what direct outreach was made into the residential communities surrounding campus, and that would be the same thing. We did advertise it far and wide. So Skip has some more questions or comments about parking permit prices that are going up even in a COVID-19 year. And it's hard to imagine this working for single mothers who also manage childcare transport. Yeah. Oh, and Bob answered, thanks. I'm like way behind on these questions. Sean says, I'm interpreting your presentation with an implicit assumption that the campus will return to normal post-COVID. Is this fair? If so, what reconsiderations to the plan were discussed, such as the number of students may not be as forecasted, or that the use of facilities may change post-COVID? That's a great question.
Yeah, and I think we're just starting to have some of those conversations. So excellent point, and glad you brought it up. We're obviously not sure how things are going to work in the future. We've had some pretty good successes with both people working off campus, and as well as with our, obviously with our educational programs that have been, are being produced. And, you know, I've got a lot of students who are attending class from their parents' homes these days. But we also have a lot of students who like living in Corvallis. And we have a lot of classes that need some hands-on science labs and that kind of thing. So the university as a whole continues to talk about how to take advantage of the things that we might be good at, that we're learning about through this COVID adventure. And then also how to continue just to have this high-notch research and academic programs that need to, some of them need to happen on campus.
And I would also add that the vision is not, while it does take a 10-year look into the future, it's not prescriptive. And if we haven't learned anything over the last year, it's that we need to be flexible and adaptable and find ways to move the university forward in support of the strategic plan 4.0 as well as the mission, but it may be in a little bit of different way. So I think as Lori touched on, you know, our opportunity sites for the campus are much more than what we currently need to support our 10-year capital forecast. And I think that this vision provides us, not to be cliche, but like a North Star of where we're headed, but we recognize that the timeline may change in how quickly we get there, or it may adapt and evolve as we move forward over the next few years.
Right. And, you know, here's one thing you should never do, and that's put your boss on the spot. But Paul, do you have anything that you might add to this conversation?
Yeah, I wanted to actually, Laura, so I appreciate you putting me on the spot. Yeah, you know, it's a great question. We, you know, I don't think any of us know where we're going to fall post-COVID and what that will do. This vision, though, is a bit of an overarching piece, which is about the look, the feel, the nature of campus. Specific plans for construction, renovation, we'll be looking at those over the next years about what COVID does to us all and how it changes our work environment, our research, and for our students as well. I think that, you know, one thing very important, I think we all know the importance of presence, right? That we've all felt that in everything we do as well. And that, you know, we certainly see that there's great value to the in-person education and to the college experience of being on a college campus. So will it return to the numbers it was? Will there be more remote instruction? You know, we'll have to see how that goes. But this does give us a framework. And I understand your question, Sean, and this was mostly done pre-COVID. However, I think it's universal ideas that will apply to us in the physical nature of the campus.
Great. Thanks, Paul. I believe we've run out of chat questions. So if anyone wants to just ask a question, that's fine too. We'd love to hear them. Or if not, I do.
Aaron, I have one.
Sure, go for it.
Well, I guess more of a, obviously this presentation, and I know I've seen your emails come through, you obviously doing quite a few of these presentations. What would be the next step, or what, I mean, will we get to see a revised version again? And if so, when? Or is this kind of like, we're rolling with this? I guess what's the next step?
Excuse me.
Simon, I think what we're trying to do here is gather any missing pieces and then finalize the document. And so as we go through this kind of a conversation with the chamber today and to other groups, we're going to take into account all that we hear, and any places where we think that the vision doesn't adequately cover those kinds of comments. Then we'll take the time to revise the vision to make sure that we really are kind of incorporating the important concepts that it needs to include, and then we'll go to the point where we'll finalize it. There are other we do have other presentations scheduled that are open to the public. And I think we mentioned that if there are specific groups that maybe you would suggest that we connect with, that we could do that as well. Maybe depending on the group and the number of people, it might be a little bit less formal, maybe just one or two of us kind of talking to whoever it is virtually. But we have these opportunities over the next couple of months to really hear from the community on these items, and then we'll take the opportunity to revise the vision as needed. So that's how I would answer. I don't know if anybody else has anything to add to that.
I would just say oh, sorry.
I was going to say I have a follow-up question. Have you reached out to the Downtown Corvallis Association?
I believe so. That was on the list of groups we reached out to.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I was going to just follow up with, will this presentation, one of the things that we've been pushing in our communication is the diversity aspect, and will this be available to, Spanish speaking folks?
That's a great idea. We don't have plans for it, but I do see the need for that. So
That'd be great.
Yeah. We do have, tomorrow, actually, we're kicking off our series of open forums.
Right.
About this, and they happen January 14th, January 21st, and January 26th. They're open to the public, so if anyone would like information about how to join, we can have that sent out after this meeting.
Can they could just put their email in the chat, or you've got their email anyway?
Yeah, I guess I do.
Yeah, and as we did do some outreach or attempted to connect with the Downtown Association, but like I said, if you have a contact there and you think that they'd be interested, and we're happy to meet with a group like that, or maybe the Rotary, if the Rotary Club wants to have a kind of a presentation, we can do those kinds of things. We'd love to get out and be with the community and present this.
Yeah, I'll just add, we've purposely not put an end date on when this will be finalized and put together. We would love to have it finalized and done. However, we've had engagements across the campus with different groups as well to get opinions, and we want to take the time with the community around Corvallis to get other groups involved as well. So, we have some you're one of the earliest groups we're going to as well. We have other groups lined up from there. And, we'll expand as things come up and there's other interest as well, to make sure that we're getting, a full appreciation by the community of what we're talking about.
Thanks.
Yeah, I just shared, Abby here, I just shared the links to the upcoming webinars in the chat with direct registration links for anyone that is interested. And to follow up on what Paul just said, some of the groups that we have invited include the neighborhood associations, the Downtown Corvallis Association, Sustainability Coalition, as well as some of their individual action teams. and a number of similar groups. And if anyone has any groups that maybe we haven't thought of or reached, please do reach out to us. I believe Erin shared her contact information as well, and we can make efforts to invite those folks to our public sessions or work with them to present individually if they cannot make the virtual sessions coming up this month.
Thanks, Abby. Any other final questions or thoughts? Okay, well, on the screen right now, you'll see a link. That is a link to our project website, and that has the draft vision, all 225 pages of it, as well as the executive summary of the major findings of the vision. So feel free to go ahead and check that out. On behalf of the project team, we really thank you for your time. And I believe Simon has sent out my email or will send out my email. So if you think of any questions, feel free to shoot them to me. I probably won't answer them, but I will direct them to the person that can answer the question. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for using us, and thanks for thinking of us. We're glad to be your guinea pig. You can use us anytime you like for this sort of stuff. So thanks, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Erin, you want to stick around for 1 second?
Yeah, sure. Mhm.